Phil, thank you so much for
Mhm.
this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, how this project, PANORAM,
Mm-hmm.
started and how you became part of it.
Right. The PANORAM project was. I spent a lot of time going around Mexican studio in Mexico City. Lots of studios. They were all good in different ways. And for example, with Zoe, we always had to go to other studios to like Sonic Ranch and studios like that. And bit by bit, I was just getting a bit tired of traveling. I mean, Mexico City is lovely, but you know what, traveling through it sometimes knocks you out. It's just I don't do traffic. I don't do traffic in London. I don't do I'm a lazy sod, so I like to walk to places. And bit by bit, I was just getting kind of more exhausted, going further away and finding great studios, but it was just very exhausting. And so, at some point, the possibility of looking at a place in Condesa that was possible to to sort of turn it into a studio. So it was a bit of everyone contributed to the idea.
Mhm.
And of course, for all the studios that I've been through and worked in, I'm thinking, oh, that's nice. There's a nice little bit here, and there's like a nice little bit there. It's like London has a nice bit there, and Belgium has a nice bit there. And I thought it's nice to actually sort of sit there and sort of like get stuck into a design of a studio. Most of the studios that I've been in, well, there's a lot of clinical studios around. It's more like going to a dentist. I know it all looks kind of acoustically correct, but I just don't want to be in the rooms. A lot of studios don't have daylight, which is like, and I spent years in studios without daylight, and I just got fed up with it. So this was a challenge to see if we could do it. And so together we pulled all our resources, and sort of got the studio going. And I was very much, even with the door shot that's behind you, it was the idea of just recycling and not necessarily going totally bling. Because there's a lot of studios that showboat, the wealth of, they've spent a lot of money on the acoustics and thinking,
because it's very expensive.
Oh yeah, and of course it is. Everything, it's like 10 times more expensive because it has to be acoustically treated. But then I went to one studio which will remain nameless and is no longer here, probably for the reasons I've given, where it was done by a so-called acoustic technician, with all the accreditations, and I couldn't be in there for more than about half an hour. It was just a horrible environment. It was just like, I just do not want to be here. So, the thing is, if you're going to spend time in studios, you need to feel comfortable. I'd say, in all fairness, there's bits where PANORAM isn't sort of like acoustically, perfect. It's like, well, get over it. It's like you find ways and means. I'm not sort of excusing sort of like bad workmanship, but it's very important to make sure you're in a very comfortable place where you don't feel tired as soon as you walk into the room. And some studios can drain the life, just drain the life out of you. You're just thinking, I know it's brilliant, but I just don't want to be here. So it's feeling sort of very, it's just feeling comfortable in a place. And it's like a big studio is sometimes, for example, this room is like, well, you would do your recording and then you leave the room and that's it. So this room is always kind of left as a kind of a strange vacuum. I'm thinking, well, actually you can set some sofas up and people can just chill out in the room anyway. I mean, make the whole thing just a little bit more comfortable. It becomes, otherwise it's just a bit intimidating. Some studios just are intimidating by the nature of what they are. So I try to avoid all of that nonsense, and bit by bit, we got sort of, the monster up and running. I mean, but it's like feeding sometimes it's feeding a big white elephant, it's just, it just keeps on, because you need to constantly keep sort of, maintenance and just all the maintenance bits that need to be done. It's not a studio isn't just like they sort of say a studio isn't just for Christmas. You know what I mean? It requires a lot of love, but that's how it started. Yeah.
What do you think are the main challenges that recording studios face in our times?
Well, the fact is they're going to go out of business, because this model is really kind of it's a throwback to the past. And of course, it used to be, say 20 years ago, you go to the studio because they had all the gear. Well, we now know that people just go, well, I just did it in my bedroom. And then they get some guy to mix it who's also mixing in his bedroom. So it's like, so basically these old dinosaurs, I mean, it's like Jurassic Park, isn't it? It's like, it's kind of, it's like a Jurassic Park, but we don't have any more dinosaurs. It's like,
Yeah.
So I can't sell studios too highly, because it's becoming a little sort of scarce. I mean, yes, major studios, for example, we'll quote Abbey Road or whatever, they're there because it's an institution and it has provenance and it has a kind of a history. But even then, I think it was the guy, I can't remember the guy who bought EMI. I remember his guy, I think it was something guy. He when he took over Abbey Road, this was the time of sort of selling off studios and just asset stripping. And at one point, they were looking at turning Abbey Road into the main studio into a car park.
Okay.
That was their kind of decision. So you can sort of see even Abbey Road was close to extinction, and they sort of said, no, you can't do that. It's a World Heritage site for everyone, really. It's not about the accountants just making little plus signs, But there were plans at one point for it to be sort of turned into part of a car park. So you can sort of see where even there, everyone's at risk. So, yeah, we now know that studios are done. People, set up a pair of monitors. You've got your program, and off you go. And so, to answer your question, which was, I forgot. I'm going all Trump. It's like, what was the question again? Sorry.
What do you think are the main challenges that recording studios?
Survival.
Okay.
Yeah, survival.
Nice. Yes,
that's it. Survival.
Sure.
If you want to go to a proper studio and you want all the trimmings, yes. I mean, there's not too many around. I mean, very brave people. I mean, I look at the studio as a device where it's like, well, it doesn't make huge amounts of money. It's not about the money. It's having a vehicle, a creative place to do it. And so that whole idea of the way studios work, there were lots and lots of studios. I mean, in London, it's like it was so many studios got wiped out. But yes, we know people now they have their studio in their bedrooms or their little extra room, and then they realize that they've got too much gear. Then they have to take that gear and move it somewhere else because the neighbors complain. Then they go and then they rent a space, and that's what they do in London. So you have lots of these places, these rooms where people just go, okay, well, I'll just have a rent room. So it's still there, but the overall general studio like PANORAM is difficult to find. I mean, we still have them.
So what is your view about the IA in the music industry?
Do you know what? Part of me scared of it, and part of me actually loves it. I mean, it means that I was just messing around myself with it, and I was thinking, well, it's a very destructive influence, because it's like, okay, but then make it your friend, see if it works. The jury's out, but I'll endorse any kind of technology that sort of like can enhance the actual job. And sometimes if it gets you to the wedding quicker, so be it. You know what? I'm getting also quite tired of going, oh, I've got to produce another song, and it's like you've got to start from the basic point. I'm thinking, see what AI says. I'm going to jump a few. I'm going to try and save time. And there is that time-saving device. It's like, and then you're sort of saying yes, but music's becoming more homogenized due to AI. It's like probably, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't sort of say it's in terms of how I listen to music at the moment. I wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if it was AI or human with some of these songs anyway, because a lot of it's absolute garbage. I mean, it's like, and you just got AI to confirm that it's garbage. But I'll endorse it because I think it can be used as a creative tool, and part of the process. I don't see what's what's wrong with it, and it's not going to go away. That's the point. So it's like, you're going to you can't put the genie back in the bottle. I mean, that's it. You can't unscramble the egg. Once it's there, and it's going to be used. So you better be creative with it. And that's the way I see it. But yes, fear on one hand, and sort of like, excitement on the other. So I'll balance the two out.
So Phil, what is your view on Mexican rock?
Mexican rock. Okay.
In general.
Well, we mentioned a great rock band, Jumbo, for example. I mean, in terms of a classic kind of, good, solid rock band, and they're, as I say, great, and really good. I mean, a little powerhouse rock band. I'm selective about some. I mean, some should not sort of, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. There are some bands, if they rock in English, that shouldn't really bother. But I mean, that's my own personal opinion. And the rock, but yes, if it's a little bit kind of stock generic, of course I'm not interested. I'm not going to name names because it's it's like, okay, that's the way it is. I was working with a band just recently called Palma.
Okay.
And I think from Juarez.
Okay.
Really nice guys. I mean, they are rock. They like their rock moments. They're really into it. But I really like the way they were in character, and I'm thinking, okay, no, I get this. But also, I think that where they were in terms of rock was probably more standard live type sound. So I was there to sort of engineer a slightly different, twist it a little bit, sort of like, I was sort of thinking, let's put some Beastie Boys in here. And then I always loved ZZ Top. So I'm thinking, and you are in Texas, so, the top is still king, you get it. When you play ZZ Top in Texas, it matches,
Yeah.
Yes, I think also the nice thing is that, a lot of bands that I work with, if they were in rock mode, they're always prepared to adapt and go, we'll go with you on this. So it kind of makes well, that's the way I work. And obviously, if you're saying in general there are some rock bands, it's like, no, I can't do that, and I'm not gonna go there. It's just like, but rock in general in Mexico is pretty damn good. I mean, overall, I mean, I kind of, and I think I've got to like the people anyway. That's it. I've got to sort of like follow their kind of belief system. It's like, okay, so this is what you want. Okay, and we'll follow it. Some rock is cheesy, and it's like, you won't get me in a room. That's it.
So Phil, thank you so much once again for this conversation. I hope that in the future record a full episode about your career.
Oh yeah, okay. So, I'd like to know about it as well.
Thank you so much,
all right,
Phil.
cheers.